When I see you standing next to Sexy Red, I believe you see two bad bitches. I believe you see competition. You might shake ass with them. Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's like GO3 nigga in the flesh, you hear what I'm saying? DPGO3 or Samari, whatever you want to call me. But look, today we're going to be getting the Murder Mobile, Alabama's most dangerous rapper now. Ain't it like Mobile, Alabama? Murder Mobile? That's crazy. That's a crazy name. Let's get into it. Shout out to Trap Low Ross. Link in the description. I'm braided up in the parts. I gotta go to work, yo.
All of the opinions in this video are mine alone. Everything in this video has been taken from publicly available sources, and any footage used is covered under the doctrine of fair use. We have made every effort to ensure the accuracy of our sources, but I am not responsible for content that third parties publish. Content warning: this video contains themes of violence, death, and gang activity. But every effort has been made to censor this video in accordance with YouTube's advertiser and community guidelines. This video features no violence on screen, no explicit language, and no hateful language. If you want to see extended versions of my videos with much more detail, please visit patreon.com/disclaimer
and a fucking YouTube disclaimer. Like, YouTube's such a fucked up platform. Yo gotta do a YouTube disclaimer to try to do a documentary on some real life event shit. Niggas can't report. YouTube so good, bro. Shout out to his Patreon.
Please visit patreon.com/traplow.
Go sub up, bro. It really don't cost that much. I ain't got no money on. I'm actually in debt to Cash App, so I can't. But y'all should. If y'all got the money on,
get ready to hear one of the craziest stories ever told.
Support this.
If you've seen my channel before, you'll know that I like to study the real stories behind gangster rap and drill music all over the world. From the gun-toting gangsters of Southside Chicago to the knife-wielding drillers on council estates in London, all the way to the savage suburbs of Sweden, where the gangsters there are literally bombing their ops. But today,
yo, literally, no, I ain't gonna lie. If y'all want a reaction, that one let me know.
When it comes to rap music and street culture, Mobile, Alabama. This city in the deep south has a rich and deep history of conflict, all the way back to the Civil War that put a stop to the booming slave trade in the south. For over 200 years, African Americans living in the south have suffered brutal injustices and discrimination, with the civil rights movement emerging in the 50s and 60s, fighting for the rights of black people living in this historically intolerant area. And while black people are on paper now fully integrated into society in the deep south, despite being a majority in the city of Mobile, there remains a clear divide between the haves and the have-nots, with the African American community in the state on average earning significantly less than other races in the area. And as a result, just like with many other cities in the USA, many neighborhoods occupied by predominantly African Americans don't receive the support or investment they need to prosper. This leads to social issues and the formation of gangs who resort to crime to make ends meet and put food on the table. Unfortunately, gang affiliation is often handed down from generation to generation, and many young people are born into gang affiliations due to their family or neighborhood.
We still under what was it, like treated the same but not equal? You feel me? Like whatever that shit is, like, yeah, bro, it's damn near still Jim Crow laws going on, bro, for real. Separate but equal. Like how we got separate but equal? Now it's not even that, bro. It's separate, it's together but unequal. How we go from separate but equal to together but unequal? That's fucking crazy, bro.
Ties, being forced into a deadly street war that they never really signed up for.
In
Mobile, Alabama, one of these young men, born the son of an infamous gangster, would grow up to be notorious himself, both for his activity in the streets and for his slick and insightful music, painting a picture of the street lifestyle in the Deep South that had rarely been represented in music. Nashon Jones, better known as Honeycomb Brazy, is the most buzzing rapper currently emerging from Mobile, Alabama. His relatively short career in music has been marked by extreme highs and lows, with deadly and violent encounters in the streets, as well as bitter feuds that have spilled into the rap game. Honeycomb Brazy has been in some of the most shocking situations you can imagine, from shooting and paralyzing his own cousin at just age 13, killing a former friend and getting away with it, getting shot 8 times and surviving a coma, and at one point, things got so crazy with Brazy's enemies, who were unable to get to him, they would even resort to killing his grandparents, in one of the most brutal incidents of murder I have ever heard in any crime story. But in the midst of it all, Honeycomb Brazy has continued making music, documenting the insane lifestyle that he was born into. From his meteoric rise in the scene in 2018 to long periods spent incarcerated on serious charges stemming from his numerous encounters with the law. Indeed, Brazy lived a serious life of crime before releasing any music, as can be seen from his gallery of mugshots and countless photos from behind bars, where he can be seen posing in his best prison fits, still rocking designer clothing in prison. And according to Brazy himself, he spent a whopping half of his life behind bars.
But I was on a 20 split 4 years. I did 4 years, then 3 years, then 2 years, then 1 year, then 11 months.
Now, Brazy was freed again in late 2023, going on to release numerous songs which hit millions of streams in just a span of a few months, before getting locked up once again at the peak of his career in early 2024. And today, Honeycomb Brazy is still incarcerated, but while he rots away in a cell, in the streets, and online, places like YouTube and social media, millions of fans are obsessed with the story of Alabama's most buzzing gangster rapper. So today, we're going to take a closer look at Honeycomb Brazy and the war in Mobile, Alabama, one of the most dangerous feuds the rap game has ever seen.
Oh, shit. Shout out to Trap Lil Russ, bro. He just did like a 6-hour documentary on 600. Yo, TRLR, Trap Lil Russ. If you don't want to see like niggas reacting to your content, bro, just let me know. Hit me up with a comment, my Instagram in the description. Hit me up with a DM, bro. I'll take the shit down immediately if you don't fuck with it, bro.
When was the first time you went to jail? What, 12, 13?
Nah,
and that's
like
for anybody I react to.
10 years old.
Alabama is the worst state to live in, according to a CNBC article that lists the 10 worst states based on quality of life category.
What did your mom saying at this time when you're in and out of jail?
Is she in that?
And then your dad is in jail too, so your whole family's kind of dysfunctional.
Damn.
Yeah.
Holy, the mom in and out of jail, the dad in and out of jail.
Life.
Get that money, boy.
Wife?
Look at him. That cut like an action figure.
They just like a pile of money. Get nephew ready, man. Get nephew ready, man. Get nephew ready, man. Get out.
You made it now. I'm rich. Cause my nephew rich.
You also said that you would sign $1 million deal. You'll sign for anything if you can get your dad out of jail. Is that real?
Hell yeah, that's real.
Hell yeah.
Blood, that's real.
Hell yeah, that's real. Nigga talking about is that real? Hell yeah, that's real.
But see how I gotta be. Hey, these niggas, cause you know they might snitch. I be like, the law. I would cooperate for a life sentence. You know I know about my dog.
That's hard though.
I do this shit out the head. These niggas sign me all up in my leg. But before that, they hit me up in my back and up in my head. But instead, I'm still living and these want me dead.
Whoa, wait. You shot your cousin?
Yeah, yeah.
Like on accident?
Nah,
yup,
like on
hell
purpose.
yeah.
That way.
Nigga like on accident? Nah, on purpose. You can see from the smile that nigga was
Like
on purpose.
accident?
Nah, like on purpose.
That way.
Yeah, do it again too.
Breaking now, a gut-wrenching scene in the Happy Hill community. An elderly couple dead after their home explodes.
Family and friends are wondering what happened to Leila and Tony Lewis.
Police confirmed the connection between the couple's grandson, local rapper Honeycomb Brazy, and Southall. Police were trying to confirm a previous beef between the two.
You gonna die with them? That's what my grandma tell me. Oh, blood. You gonna die with them?
I can't let up right now. I can't let up. If I let up, I'm gonna make my ops so happy. They gonna be happy if I stop. Niggas spray your grandma's house up. These folks soon them old people house. Niggas don't respect that.
Now, one of the men that's charged now with this murder is Darren Southall, who was sentenced today to 35 years in prison after admitting to running a large-scale drug operation.
Fourth suspect arrested in the murders of Tony and Layla Lewis.
They are the grandparents of rapper Honeycomb Brazy, gunned down in their house and shot.
And how many times do you think your home has been shot at?
For sure, I know it's 3, but now I know it's 4 times.
Darren Southall will be off the streets after entering a plea deal. He faces anywhere from 30 to 35 years behind bars for his crimes.
Jesus.
Why do they keep targeting you?
Because they want my son, not Sean Jones, dead.
Today's story
Mobile,
takes place in one of the
Alabama,
most
B-Mode,
notorious
Alabama.
cities in the Deep South, the city of Mobile in the state of Alabama. Mobile is known for its key location as the only major city in Alabama with sea access. Therefore, it also has the state's only saltwater port, allowing large ships to enter. Moreover, after an annexation of several communities, which pushed the city's population past 200,000, Mobile is now the second largest city in Alabama after Huntsville, now passing Birmingham and Montgomery. And Mobile is known for its rich history, actually being the oldest city in Alabama, and according to some, it's even the location of the oldest Mardi Gras carnival celebration in America, which allegedly even predates the New Orleans Party Fest. The city, which is now known as Mobile, was founded in 1702 as the first capital of the French Louisiana, and it was then also part of the colonies of Great Britain and Spain before eventually becoming part of Alabama as it became the 22nd state of the United States in 1819. But Alabama, including Mobile, also has a much darker history that is haunted by the shadow of the brutal slave trade. By 1840, Alabama had become the largest cotton producer in America using African-American slave labor. And as the only port town in Alabama, Mobile became the second largest in cotton exporters just after New Orleans, as well as being at one point the home to the largest slave market in the entire Deep South. By the 1860s, almost half of the population of Alabama were slaves, and slave plantations formed the core of Alabama's economy. Even after the US banned the importation of new slaves in 1808, slave ships from the Old World would continue to smuggle in new slaves from Africa through Mobile, and in 1860, the last known international slave ship to America, called Clotilda, arrived in Mobile, smuggling 110 slaves from Africa. This also included the last known living survivors of the transatlantic slave trade in America, Cudjoe Lewis, Sally Smith, real name Rodoshi, and Matilda McCreer, who was actually the last slave to pass away in 1940.
I feel really bad as a nigga for not knowing that. You feel me? Y'all ever watch some shit? It's like, as a nigga, why do a white man know this and I don't? I just need to read up on my information and my history and my research. You feel me? I just need to, you know, education, a continuous process. But I feel like I've been out niggered. I've been out niggered by this nigga Trap Lord Ross, bro.
Having been freed at the end of the Civil War, about 30 of the former slaves bought by Clotilda, led by Cudjoe Lewis, established a community about 3 miles north of downtown Mobile, which became known as Africatown, which by the 1950s had grown into a 13,000-strong community with numerous black-owned businesses. Unfortunately, the oppression of African Americans didn't end after the Civil War, and by the early 20th century, Alabama had entered the Jim Crow era, where it saw the rise of legal segregation, such as segregated trains and a ban on interracial marriages. In fact, Alabama was the last state to officially repeal the law banning interracial marriage, which shockingly happened only in the year 2000, decades after the Supreme Court had effectively outlawed such bans federally. Even in 2000, only about 59% of the voters would even choose to repeal the ban, meaning that a whopping 40% still voted to keep these segregation laws in the year 2000, which probably says a lot about the community living there. A stark reminder of the racial tensions that remain in the state to this very day. Moreover, much of the segregation in Alabama was not codified in law, but simply customs that everybody in the area knew to follow.
You know what? Yeah, they racist as shit. I don't even know who's going to speak on that shit, but I'm pretty sure I saw a video of a black person getting lynched by like white people in Alabama, and they're like, "Yo, I'm not gonna lie. Now that I'm really like looking back on it, it may just be like, you feel me, my brain coloring shit a certain way. It really wasn't because I'm, you know, confirmation bias. But now that I really think about it, I feel like most of the racist shit I see come from Alabama. You feel what I'm saying? Like most of the racist videos, clips, incidents, they be in Alabama. So now that I think about it,
or face severe consequences.
But predominantly what Jim Crow would have been would be a system of customs. So it didn't need to be encoded in laws for everyone who lived there locally to understand what was acceptable and what wasn't in terms of the racial order. And that racial order actually differed quite a bit in terms of what was acceptable and what wasn't from place to place. And the more regimented that was in terms of culture and custom, actually the fewer laws that you would see. Mississippi and Alabama actually have fewer formal Jim Crow laws than many of the states in the Upper South, in part because it was just so clear to everyone in these communities that this was a fixed order and you didn't need laws to actually put that into place.
Segregation was also the law of the land in Mobile, where even many public spaces like parks were often reserved for white people only, despite the fact that almost half of the population was black at this point. Moreover, predominantly black communities like Africatown were commonly left out of Mobile's infrastructure plans, causing severe health issues, which were later further escalated by the building of large factories that emitted dangerous pollutants into this community. The Africatown community would later be...
They can't build motherfucking good roads and good schooling in the community, but they can show build them factories that's going to destroy them shits. They can show build that
factories
shit
that emitted dangerous pollutants into this community. The Africatown community would later be split into various neighborhoods. The ones still being left today are known as Plateau, Magazine, Happy Hills, Kelly Hills, and Lewis Quarters. And unfortunately, these communities are still fighting with the same pollution and health issues that plagued them decades before. During the Second World War, the economy in Mobile was actually booming due to the Navy shipyards being established along the Mobile Bay. This was a positive development for the town's repressed black population, as there were thousands of free black men and women that were gaining honest employment in these shipyards. President Roosevelt would even sign an
50,000 to fucking 7. It's like, come on, bro.
Free black men and women that were gaining honest employment in these shipyards. President Roosevelt would even sign an executive order prohibiting...
And y'all know the population is majority black, ain't it? Like it was still... or at least it's like 50-50. So how the fuck is it out of 50,000 employees, 7,000 of them is black? You feel me? Like, should be crazy, bro. Should be
discrimination in the defense industry, which finally allowed black employees to advance their careers properly. Unfortunately, this would cause many of the white employees to become envious of the black people who were now competing for the same jobs as them. And this would eventually cause huge racial riots as white men would begin violently attacking the minority black employees. Later, during the civil rights movement in the 1960s, Alabama would see the rise of one of the most violent Ku Klux Klan organizations of its time, the United Klans of America, whose members carried out numerous violent attacks in Alabama, such as the so-called 16th Street Baptist Church bombing in Birmingham in 1963 that ended up killing 4 young black girls. In recent decades, Mobile, like the rest of Alabama, has struggled with relatively high levels of poverty, with the state commonly being amongst the 10 poorest in the nation. And this poverty has affected the black population there particularly, who despite being the clear majority in the city of Mobile, on average are earning by far the least compared to their counterparts of different races. And with high levels of poverty and marginalization, naturally, high crime rates would often follow, and Alabama is no exception to this. For example, the state has ranked amongst the highest in gun violence statistics for years now, and Alabama also had an alarming increase in stats amongst the highest in gun violence statistics
Maryland in this bitch.
For years now, and Alabama also had an alarming increase in stats, like the prison homicide rate during the 2010s. Within Alabama, Mobile has the second highest crime rate after Birmingham. In 2023, Forbes would even report that Mobile was the second most dangerous city in the entirety of America. However, this would actually turn out to be based on completely faulty data, with the FBI later backtracking. But anyway, this doesn't change the fact that violent crime, particularly gang-related crime, is a major problem in Mobile.
News 5 investigates Mobile's gang problem and what the city is doing to fight it. Just yesterday, we told you how prosecutors believe the shooting death of 15-year-old...
I don't know, y'all, but it's like, when I really think about like the violence and shit, it's like, it's gangs everywhere. So it's like, yo, like this shit just made me think about it and like talking about how like Mobile is one of the most dangerous places. Like, yeah. And I was thinking, I was like, damn, like, I wonder why that is. It's like, is niggas gangbanging hella heavy down there? And I thought about, like, niggas gangbanging hella heavy everywhere. You feel me? These gangbangers everywhere. And I think what really contribute to how much violence it is the packed out population of it. And the fact that down south, all y'all niggas got paramilitary weaponry. From the age of 7, y'all niggas grew up next to choppers, like.
Nisa Baker at the Grand Hall was the result of a gang rivalry.
Tonight, we turn our attention once again to the violence in our community. 2 arrests have been made for last night's deadly shooting in Pritchard.
NBC 16, that shit got 60 cases
with murder.
As they go to get in the car, he reacts to someone across the street and begins firing. As the two
channels really don't got that many subscribers on YouTube, y'all. We got on God, we going up. We going past these bitches. 145K, we going past these motherfuckers.
Change gunfire. His friends hit the pavement. It appears as though he's dodging bullets while firing at least 7 shots.
6 people in Mobile have been indicted by a federal grand jury charged with conspiracy to commit murder for hire.
A wild and crazy scene Friday night at a Chevron on Spring Hill Avenue. It all started around 8:30 when you see this woman get out of her car holding a gun and walk over to this burgundy car. She tries talking to someone in the back seat, but the driver starts pulling off. As the car swerves out of the parking lot, you see gunfire coming from the car. If you look closely, you can see where at least 3 bullets hit the concrete, one of them hitting the woman who starts shooting back before running to her car and speeding off. Customers dropping to the ground, some running inside for cover.
Mobile Police Detective Glenn Barton says the genesis of the March 18th double homicide was an ongoing war between a gang known as 2K Babies, or 2KB, and the South End gang. Cortland Parker, the detective says, was the leader of the 2KB gang and was upset over the killing of his cousin, and a taunting rap video posted online 7 days later.
Well, it has been a violent 72 hours in Mobile. 17 shootings, 1 stabbing, and a strangulation.
The sheriff's office says this all started last Tuesday near Dolphin Island Parkway in Military Road when a sheriff's deputy spotted a vehicle matching the description of a kidnapping suspect speeding down towards Johns Lane.
Evan Levy with Mobile Police says there's an alarming trend of children getting involved in gang activity
in the city.
What's alarming is the age of the people who, the young youth who choose to participate. And what happens is you sort of get the snowball effect, right?
And interestingly, considering the uphill battle that African Americans have faced in this historically oppressive state, when it comes to the rap music that young people growing up in Alabama were making to express their experience in the state, the young rappers coming out of Alabama would ultimately struggle to gain relevance in the wider music scene. With some of the very early examples being the late 90s rapper Drama, with his song Left Right Left gaining some national momentum, and into the late noughties, rapper Rich Boy would have a hit song with his track
I can't tell y'all about Alabama rappers.
Around the peak of the so-called Dirty South era, which would later become known as the Dirty Decade. A period in rap history spanning from the late 90s to the late 2000s that saw many rappers from the southern states other than Alabama, like
facts.
Texas,
the
Georgia,
late
Louisiana,
90s,
and
early
Memphis,
2000s.
making a
I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Outkast dropped, was it AT Aliens? Or was it a Criminal? I can't remember what joint it was, but y'all know what album I'm talking about. And then they won the Grammy for that shit, or won whatever award it was, and Andre got on stage and was like, the South got something to say. That's all I'm gonna say. And then I ain't gonna lie, after that, bro, I swear to God, the South did not lose. Like, look at this lineup. Y'all think I'm fucking playing with y'all niggas. Hold on, bro. In my bag, bro. In my bag that I carry around with me, yo. Y'all know what's in this motherfucker? Weed. What I need. Look, y'all. Not even joking with y'all. This not fraud for the camera. 2008 Lil Wayne and Boosie CD. On God, y'all. On God, y'all. On my soul, y'all. I know y'all see that shit, bro. Like, nah, for real, though. Nah, for real, though. The South was really like, I ain't gonna lie, the South, yeah, that's really the Dirty Decade.
However, since the late 2000s...
It's funny that shit said 1997 to 2007, and that CD was from 2008. So, a year after the Dirty Decade.
When Huntsville, Alabama-based rap collective Slow Motion Sounds and other associated Huntsville rappers like Jackie Chain and the Paper Route Gangsters were making waves in the underground, even getting remixes made by the most famous EDM producer in the world, Diplo. That would lead to artists in the early 2010s like the rapper Doe B from Montgomery, Alabama, gaining national traction before his untimely passing. Then there's also the rapper Yellow Wolf from Gadsden, Alabama, who signed to Eminem's Shady Records label. Now, rappers from Alabama have slowly started gaining more and more momentum, and there's...
Okay. I did not know 4 Milli was from Bama. No Cap, Rallo, Young Blue, Lil Rah. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. Recently, Alabama has been making it. Because I did know Lil Rah was from Alabama. I feel like I knew about Rallo. I ain't know Young Cap was from there. I ain't know Young Blue was from there. I don't even know that single nigga. I ain't know 4 Milli was there, but...
Now several people who have garnered considerable popularity coming out of the state in recent years.
These are all
names
new
like Rilo Rodriguez,
niggas.
No Cap, Young Blue, Flo Milli, TLE Cinco, and Lil Rai, just to name a few. But ultimately, on the whole, the state has generally been suppressed
before
and isn't really looked at as a top breeding ground for musical talent. But Honeycomb Brazy might just change that. Anyway, now you know a bit about the environment that shaped Honeycomb Brazy growing up, but to truly understand his story, we've got to also talk about his family and his brutal upbringing that saw him placed in gang-affiliated danger playing with firearms.
I need this video to get 5 likes at least, y'all. Like that bitch up.
Honeycomb Brazy's family have deep ties to the Mobile gangland that go back
we 20
decades.
minutes into
Brazy's
this
father,
video.
Nashawn Barnes, was known as Big Honeycomb or simply Big Comb, and he's by all accounts a well-known figure in the streets of Mobile, Alabama. He had been allegedly involved amongst other crimes in a major cocaine dealing operation in Mobile in the early 2000s, with an eventual indictment revealing a large dope dealing conspiracy that saw Big Honeycomb caught red-handed with 5 kilos of powder. Big Honeycomb was known to allegedly rep the notorious Bounty Hunter Bloods gang. Bounty Hunter Bloods are originally a West Coast-based Bloods gang set with a long history, originating in the infamous Nickerson Gardens public housing project in the Watts neighborhood of LA during the late 60s and early 70s.
Object, what's the process and digest property, dialect, adaptation, inevitable, games, violence, crack spots, Wade Billings, and drug confessionals. Oldest and 7. Be reckless. Yo, if y'all know Kendrick Lamar, y'all know what song that's from, let me know.
In the infamous Nickerson
Every time
Garden,
I hear the Nickerson Garden project
set,
I think about that Kendrick song.
Originating in the infamous Nickerson Gardens public housing project in the Watts neighborhood of LA during the late 60s and early 70s. And famous Bounty Hunter members include rappers such as J Rock, who's part of the label Top Dog Entertainment, which is known for launching the careers of artists like Kendrick Lamar and Schoolboy Q, and likely taking generous splits. J Rock is known to rep the original set of the Bounty Hunters from Watts, whereas you've got people like the late Dallas rapper
y'all think Lil Raz gonna make a RP Mode 3, man? Fuck. Y'all think Y'all think Trap Lord Ross gonna make a video, even comment or talk about that Drake Kendrick shit? Cause y'all know that he just made a dig to that Top Dog 50% split shit.
J-Rock is known to rep the original set of the Bounty Hunters from Watts, whereas you've got people like the late Dallas rapper Mo3, who was actually part of a Bounty Hunter Blood set from Dallas, Texas, a gang which he repped before his untimely death in 2020. Now, the original LA-based set of the Bounty Hunter Bloods is known for their long-lasting and deadly feud with the Grape Street Crips from the nearby Jordan Downs projects. Both Grape Street Crips and Bounty Hunter Bloods have deep ties to the southern states too, partly due to the fact that many LA gang members actually moved to the south throughout the years, eventually forming their own branches that may or may not have existing ties to the original West Coast branches of the same gang, but also due to more strategically established interstate drug lines in between these different branches of the gang, which allowed these interstate gang sets to work together, bringing in lucrative drugs like methamphetamine from the West Coast.
Plus, you gotta think about when all these drug rings get taken down, where them niggas going? Straight to the penitentiary. What happened in the penitentiary? Street gangs start going into the penitentiary, becoming more structured and more popular, and that's how that shit really spread throughout the city. Deion Horror one, that's how gangs really spread. It's through prison. I'm not even lying to y'all. Through the penitentiary system. That's how like gangs really get fostered and cultivate throughout that shit. Cause yes, gang members, they come from LA, and then they come to these other cities, and then they set up drug rings in these other cities, maybe probably connected back to LA. You feel me? Like from LA to Mobile, connected drug ring. Them motherfuckers get arrested. Them motherfuckers going to jail, going to the penitentiary. Now the motherfuckers in the penitentiary. Now, in the penitentiary, you may have local Alabama gang. You're surrounded by like hella different local gangs. And you and your guys just got arrested. So you gonna start that shit in jail. You gonna, like in jail, you gonna try to do that for protection. You gonna try to stamp your shit for protection to stand on that shit. Like, yeah, okay. You that. All right, we the bounty hunters then. You feel me? Like, well, not them, but we the bounty hunters. You feel me? This is what it is now. We here now. You feel me? That's how gangs get into the jail system. And now that should just spread like water, you feel me? Should spread like wildfire,
southern states. And those who might have seen my video on the Wolf of Grape Street might remember that this is exactly what the LA rapper 03 Greedo, who was allegedly part of the original Grape Street Crips, was busted for doing in Texas. Now, the gang lineage of the Bounty Hunter Bloods in Mobile, Alabama was clearly passed down to a young Honeycomb Brazy, who took on his father's street name, originally going by the name Honeycomb Jr., something that he would display proudly on early Facebook and YouTube accounts, as well as early mixtapes, and later paying homage to this nickname in a creative song and video called Honeycomb Brazy versus Honeycomb Jr. Now, Honeycomb Jr. would display his connections to the same gang as his father with a lot of pride, presenting as a bounty hunter blood in public, often repping a red bandana and clothing, and replacing his C's with B's and K's in social media posts.
We own that. You know that black gang forever anyway. Yeah, I'm trying to meet the gang. Somebody hit the gang up. Tell the gang come for brazen. He real blooded on guard. He ain't gonna die about it. Yeah, he gonna really die about it. You heard me? Yeah, for real. But yeah, though, that bitch South.
Man, shout out to the game.
South. I think South Bounty Hunter too. I don't know though. I still those, you know, I'm Bounty Hunter. You feel me? But look though, got that for South. Boom. Got it at the gate. I really with all the blood. Like, I ain't gonna lie.
But unfortunately for Honeycomb Jr., Big Honeycomb would end up getting arrested and charged in 2008 for an armed robbery and attempted murder. According to court documents, Big Holmes and his partners broke into a man's home masked up during what at first appeared to be a standard home invasion robbery. However, according to the victim, after taking his money, Big Holmes would remove his bandana, telling him that he didn't want his money but his life, before stabbing him several times. He and his partners would then attempt to seemingly set the victim on fire with gasoline, but he would manage to escape to the bathroom, where Big Holmes would end up shooting him. The victim would then allegedly escape from the house, whilst Big Holmes and his accomplices fled the scene. By what seems like a miracle, the victim would actually end up surviving this ordeal, but given the brutality of these alleged events, it's no wonder then that the judge would decide to come down hard on Big Holmes, giving him a life sentence, with his profile at the Bullock Correctional Facility listing a brutal 999 years, 99 months, and 99 days remaining on his sentence in perpetuity. So without his father to help him navigate the streets, Honeycomb Jr. was left to survive in the hard streets of Mobile by himself.
You also said that you would sign $1 million deal. You'll sign for anything if you can get your dad out of jail. Is that real?
Hell yeah, that's real. On blood, that's real. Hell yeah, why not? Money ain't shit to get.
Big Honeycomb had his most recent parole hearing in 2023, but his request was duly denied, and his next opportunity won't be before 2028, with it not being hopeful that the system will grant him a second chance. Big Comb's chances at parole seem pretty slim due to the fact that the current Alabama chair of the Board of Pardons and Paroles, Lee Gaffney, has actually denied nearly all parole requests since taking charge in 2019. But perhaps due to Big Honeycomb's status in the streets, he would continue to live life to the fullest, even behind bars.
That's how y'all know that shit ain't for rehabilitation back into the outside world or whatever the fuck they try to claim that shit is for, bro. They just want your life. That's it. They just want to take your life.
As Big Comb would be seen posting pictures on social media where he can be seen wearing diamond grills and designer clothes, smoking cigars or blunts and drinking lean, and even eating restaurant quality meals, all from prison, leaving fans of Brazy astounded at how somebody is able to live such a lavish life behind bars.
Still can't believe bro in jail poor AC eating hibachi.
Big Honeycomb is literally living a more lit life than me while serving life. It's crazy. But unfortunately, with his father out of the picture, Honeycomb Jr. couldn't rely on his mother for support, as his mother, Tanisha Jones, was also in and out of jail throughout his childhood, and she can even be seen to this day repping her alleged blood gang affiliations, with her red hair looking like Sexy Red's long lost auntie. Now, the red hair was actually a trend that many Bloods, including Brazy himself, actually followed at one point.
What did your mom saying at this time when you're in and out of jail?
She in out. Both are in out there. She can't say that.
But the thing is, Brazy's gang ties in the family go much deeper than just his parents. Even Brazy's uncle, known as Gator Q, is allegedly another highly respected Blood gang member, and at one point, Gator and Big Comb would even share a jail cell together where they could be seen together on videos that were posted to social media, where Big Comb films them doing their daily activities, like working out, with Gator showing his impeccable fit and what seems to be an enormous battle scar in the middle of his stomach.
Get that money, man. This how we do in the federal prison right here. Doing day for day in this. Yeah. Gator, I see you, Mobile.
Yo, somebody titled this shit wrong as fuck. Honeycomb Brazy and his dad, Gator Q, in the federal prison together. That's not what's happening in this video.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Y'all niggas just be on YouTube dabbing.
Nice.
Trey Camp.
Do that, motherfucker. 250. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Going back down. Yes, sir.
They would also show family photos, with Gator at one point saying how he's rich now because his nephew is rich, while showing an old picture of him repping the Blood gang when he was Honeycomb Jr.'s age, all saying how he's been incarcerated ever since he's been doing this red shit.
Let them know your uncle still standing. And for all the hoes they turned their back on me, we made it now. I'm rich. Cause my nephew rich. Yeah, that's what time it is. See these motherfucking pants right here? I know they don't wear this shit no more. I'm gonna show you when I left the street. Been doing the red shit. Damn, when I was a little, I was your age, little Cone. Right here, when I came in this motherfucker. One love. Real life.
At the end of 2020, Gator would post on his Twitter that he would finally be freed in 2021. But anyway, given the fact that Honeycomb Jr.'s parents were heavily involved in the streets, in and out of jail throughout his childhood, he would wind up being mostly raised by his grandparents from his mother's side of the family. And understandably, Brazy's family life and the gangbanging influence from those he looked up to as a child had a huge lasting impression on him, making him seemingly determined.
Keep them freaky ass 69 guys in there, bro. All the good niggas missing Thanksgiving freedom.
The influence from those he looked up to as a child had a huge lasting impression on him, making him seemingly determined to continue the family's infamous legacy in the streets himself. But unfortunately for Honeycomb Brazy, the extent of his family's activities in the streets meant that he would be growing up in a volatile environment surrounded by firearms and danger, and he would barely be a teenager when he would ultimately find himself squeezing a trigger and changing his life trajectory drastically, beginning a spiral of violence and notoriety that would seemingly follow him for the rest of his life.
How y'all think Trap Lord Ross put them scripts together? He just be on that motherfucker typing them words up. A volatile
Honeycomb Brazy, full name Nashawn Teran Itez Jones, was born in Mobile, Alabama on the 23rd of February 1995. And despite there being some rumors that he was born in Atlanta, it's Mobile, Alabama on his birth certificate. At the time of his birth, his mother had only just turned 16, and she would post the birth certificate on Facebook with a caption revealing that she had indeed gotten pregnant at just 15 years old. And a young Honeycomb Brazy would seemingly spend much of his childhood in a small house owned by his grandparents, located on Dr. Thomas Avenue in the Happy Hills neighborhood, part of the historical Africatown community. As Brazy raps in his song 223, his upbringing was defined by poverty, with Brazy and his siblings regularly sleeping on the floor, and even claiming to have been literally born in the middle of the street. Moreover, the house was only a stone's throw away from the infamous large public housing project called the Josephine Allen Homes. These projects can even be seen behind a young Brazy in an old family photo likely taken in front of his grandparents' house. Growing up in these projects with hundreds of units and dozens of buildings was Honeycomb Brazy's introduction to the streets and the gang lifestyle, and it was also in these projects where he would end up losing his very first friends to the streets. In 2007, an 18-year-old man named Robert Lucas, known in the streets as Slick Rick, or just Slick, was gunned down by an undercover police officer who had arrived at the Josephine Allen Homes to investigate a call about drug activity. The officer claimed that Slick had pointed a gun at him during a chase, but the Happy Hills locals were outraged, demanding that officer should be fired. After the feds would become involved in the investigation, that officer was eventually found to be not guilty of any wrongdoing. And in a
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I missed my high point. My bad. He got shot. The cops said he pointed a 40 caliber high point at him. Damn, I missed my high point. I had a high point 40. Yo, Chad, I do. Oh, my bad, y'all. My bad.
After the feds would become involved in the investigation, that officer was eventually found to be not guilty of any wrongdoing. And in a stark example of failing upwards, that officer named Paul Birch would eventually become the new Mobile County Sheriff in 2023. Brazy would later reminisce on Facebook, calling Slick the realist and saying F the Mobile police for shooting his friend 5 times and leaving him to die in the street, with commenters agreeing and dissing Paul Birch for the killing. Eventually, in 2011, the city of Mobile decided to close down and demolish the Josephine Allen Homes. However, that demolition would not take place until almost a decade later in 2020. And in June of 2011, when the projects were still inhabited, an intern from the Mobile Youth Survey would keep a blog on her summer job surveying young people in Mobile and discussing the environment around the Josephine Allen Homes projects, with these blog posts including long passages all about the shocking amount of gun violence that was witnessed in this area. And at the end of her week in the Happy Hills community, she would actually conclude by writing about the feeling of hopelessness that the youth in this neighborhood were feeling, fearful of them being consumed by the gang life like their older family members had been too. Being raised in such an environment by a family with deep ties to the streets, it didn't take long for a young Honeycomb Brazy to also get involved in the life of crime. And at just age 10, he would get his first major run-in with the law. Brazy and his friends would break into a store to go and ride go-karts and vandalize the place, with these wild childhood activities landing Brazy in trouble with the law very early in his life. Brazy later explained in an interview that he's been on probation ever since this incident, and he wouldn't even make it to high school as a result.
When was the first time you went to jail? What, 12, 13?
Nah, like 10 years old. Broke in the store, broken room to go, bullshit.
Rooms to go.
Yeah, I broke in the factory though. They had a factory. I was just riding the golf cart and sitting in that whole the little thing, you little fuck. Just having fun for real. Them folks locked my ass up.
You broke in the rooms to go, like just riding go-karts, not really stealing anything, but just having a good time.
Yeah, I up too though, knocking over too though. I was up, like busted a snack machine and shit. Just bad as fuck.
Man, you wild as hell, man.
Now I've been on probation ever since.
Dropping out of school so young likely pushed Brazy even further into the street life, and with his parents constantly being in trouble with the law too, he was left with only his grandparents to try and guide him. In a freestyle on Facebook Live, Brazy would rap about these times, apologizing to his grandmother for dropping out of school, where he rapped, "I did this for you, grandmama, and I know you mad I ain't make it through school, grandmama, and I'm mad I ain't make it through too." Unfortunately, for his young son, in 2008, Brazy's father, Big Comb, would catch the case that would take him out of the streets for good. But according to Honeycomb Jr., this wouldn't necessarily stop his street activities, as Big Comb would allegedly appoint trusted members on the outside to tend to his business whilst he was behind the wall, and one of these trusted enforcers was Brazy's cousin. Around this time, Honeycomb Brazy was also sometimes living with his aunties and their families from both his mother's and his father's sides, finally giving him a chance to be part of a more normal family dynamic. But unfortunately, this wouldn't last long, because soon after his father had gone to prison for good, he would allegedly send a barely teenage Honeycomb Brazy on a dangerous mission that would almost end up destroying his life and the life of his cousin too.
But like I would stay on my mama though. I stay with my Aunt Tony, you know. But that shooting my Aunt Nisha house sometime, but I end up shooting her son. That was my cousin, so they all type of shit going on.
Whoa, wait. You shot your cousin?
Yeah, yeah.
Like on accident?
Nah, like on purpose.
After catching serious charges, still from behind bars, Big Comb would allegedly keep doing business in the streets, overseeing the operation that would be run on a street level by his closest confidants, one of them being Brazy's cousin, whose mother's house Honeycomb Jr. was sometimes living in. Unfortunately, Big Honeycomb would eventually notice that some money had come up missing, leading him to believe that someone within his operation must have been stealing from the pot, with Big Comb's suspicions falling on his nephew, Brazy's cousin.
Was it like a family, like was it an argument? Like, can you take us through that situation?
Nah, that was like him and my dad, some shit with him and my dad, you know. He had goddamn some money came up missing. I'm just gonna say that some money came up missing. Then my daddy, you know, he was locked up. You know, they gave him life and shit, so I was tripping already. When he rent that to me, you know, I had with the whoop.
Big Honeycomb seemingly wanted his 13-year-old son, Honeycomb Jr., to go and handle this dispute over the drug debt with his own cousin, who he was at least sometimes living with.
He ain't even say that, though. He ain't even say that, though. Trap Lord Ross. Don't even do that, though, bro, because with what he just said, he ain't say that. All he said was some money was missing, and my dad told me some money was missing, and he think it was my cousin. He ain't never explicitly say he said go get him done for that. He just said my dad got life, so I was already tripping about that. You feel me? He was saying that was on, like, I was already on go mode, so when that shit happened, I was ready to step about that. You feel me? He ain't put that shit on his dad, so don't put that shit on his dad like that, bro. Cause right there, it make it like it's making a narrative like this. You feel me? Like the dad evil, like you feel me? Like that's an evil ass nigga right there. But I mean, you know, obviously, you know, he ain't the saint. You feel me? He ain't the saint bull, but it's like, damn, bro, you making that nigga a villain, bro. Shit.
Lived in Plateau, another one of the older Africatown communities located across an interstate that runs through them. And so, on the instruction of his father Big Comb, a 13-year-old Honeycomb Brazy and his friends from the Happy Hills would make their way to Plateau, where he would end up confronting his cousin, shooting him, leaving him seriously injured and ultimately paralyzed.
I was like 13 years old. Like, Pop been on there since I was like 12 for real.
He might say it right here.
But I was 13 years old when I took the hit for him. And you know the streets know about that I ended up paralyzing my cousin. Like that right there, you know, paralyzed my own cousin, took a hit from my pop. 13 years old, I took a hit from my pops, man, on dick, on blood, man. That's how I ended up going to prison. I was 15 years old. All right,
that may be him
y'all
saying.
Want to know the story? Wait till my dad to get on here and tell y'all. That's how I went to prison when I was 15 years old. Man,
okay, took a hit for it. All right, took a hit for him. Could be construed as that.
Took a hit for my dad. And y'all never did no shit like that. You 13 years old, your daddy hit you up here in jail. Man, they trying to give me life, man. They trying to give me life. They whoop. Get a rent off, whoop. He wet. Man, for real, man, yeah, man. I'm telling you, man, you know, man, little one, man, I'm 13 years old. Did I go spin? Like the
Nah, he still didn't say his dad.
After shooting his cousin, Brazy obviously couldn't just return back home to either his grandparents or auntie's cribs. And to make matters even worse, the family from his dad's side were now furious with him, with his own grandmother hoping for his death.
Yeah, my grandma mad. My grandma told me on dead. Then my dad and mom. I'm like, what up? I hit them, or they blow my phone. I'm like, what's up, Granny? You gonna die with them. You gonna die with them. My grandma telling me, oh, blood, you gonna die with them, man. Cause I had some happy hill with me when I did it. You feel me? But like they ain't shooting nothing like that. They didn't have no gun. But they was just right there when it happened. You know, my cousin from Plateau. I'm from Happy Hill. That's right across the street from each other. You know, so we did it. We shot back to Happy Hill when I did it. You know, I did it in front of everybody though. You know, Pop said run it, so you know, you gotta do it. You know,
okay, Pop said run it.
No, it's done. No, I really done.
All right, that's on me then. Pop said run it.
Family after him, Honeycomb Brazy would have to lay low, and at only age 13,
that shit.
he went on the run.
He did say that about his pops, and damn, that's nasty.
He was eventually found and charged at just age 14, leading to a 3-year sentence at the Strickland Youth Center.
That shit found and charged. I know you was young, GD. I remember you way back in the G when we was in Strickland together on C-Hall, Lord. I fuck with Cone the long way, real nigga since Strickland days. I can vouch, man, snapping since a little nigga. Proud to see that nigga doing his thing in the talent. Hashtag take off.
Charged at just age 14, leading to a 3-year sentence at the Strickland Youth Center.
Now, I get locked up when I'm 14. I went on a run. They covered when I was like 14.
Nigga had to slime his cousin.
I got out when I was goddamn turning sound.
Like, yo, auntie, grandma calling your phone. You like, what up? Like, nigga, you just slimed her grandson. Like, you just slimed one of her babies. Grandma call me, what up?
17. I was like 16 when I got out.
Yeah, all right, we're going to end this section. And then before we get
However,
to
Brazy,
the next
many
one,
years on from this incident, would actually show remorse for his actions, later revealing that he doesn't have anything against his cousin and that he would have handled things completely differently today.
I was young then, though. Like, right now, I don't know if I still do that again. Because I still fuck with Buzz. It was just a misunderstanding. But, you know, I would have thought better about it. But I was young. Then my dad was telling me to run it. So, you know, dad is telling me to run it. You know, finna run it. You know how that go.
Oh, my bad, y'all. I sure just let that shit play.
And Brazy's also talked about this incident in his music. For example, in the song Gucci Flow, Brazy mentions taking a hit for his dad and paralyzing.
Loyalty is everything we got. 13 years old, I took a hit from my pops, paralyzed my own blood. They put me on lock. I'm so unorthodox, I don't know what that shit mean. They charged me an adult, sent me to prison at 15.
His own blood, as well as claiming that he was actually charged as an adult, although he was only 15 years old at the time of the sentencing. Brazy would also mention the incident in his first and biggest hit song, Freestyle, where he mentions his grandma being in tears due to his actions, as well.
I'm from a city where anything go. You heard of Mobile, nigga. 13 paralyzed, my own cousin, my grandmother in tears, nigga. People kept calling my phone like, "Calm you wrong." That ain't what it is, nigga. Yeah, bruh. Yeah, bruh. Yeah, just paralyzed your cousin, nigga. Yeah.
Well as people calling his phone and telling him what he did was wrong. Thankfully, his cousin has now made a full recovery and can even walk again. And Brazy has apparently even rekindled his relationship with his cousin, explaining how he used to look up to him when he was younger and how his dad treated the cousin like he was his son and Honeycomb Jr. like he was the nephew.
Well, now he back now, though. He back walking. He's straight. We straight now, though. You know, we cool.
Okay, so you shoot your cousin. He gets paralyzed. What is your relationship like afterwards?
He came. I ain't gonna. I f with him. He, you know, we straight. You know, cause I used to look up to him when I was young. You feel me? Like I used to look up to him. Like my dad had put him on type. You know. He was like, my dad had treated him like that was his son, you know, and I was like the nephew for real.
Before reaching the age of 17, Honeycomb Brazy had already experienced a long bit in jail and several years on probation, and at this point he was clearly desensitized to violence and completely unafraid of prison, with this setting a dangerous precedent in his life for the years that followed. And after returning home to the Happy Hills neighborhood with his grandparents Tony and Sheila Lewis, Brazy would continue his reckless lifestyle, catching yet another very serious case soon after this.
Dang. But hey, chat, with that being said, man, I got work. I gotta get the fuck up out of here. I love y'all. Thank y'all for watching, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. We're gonna be back with part 2. You feel me? Probably tomorrow or whenever the fuck I upload part 2. You feel me? It won't be too long though. But subscribe to the channel and put them post notifications on so you know when for the shit show. But yeah, I'm gonna get the fuck up out of here, man. Peace out, y'all.